Today, I just want to talk about some significant African Americans and their contribution to Gainesville and Alachua County. Oftentimes, we hear names over and over and over, but there's some we don't hear, like Mrs. Thelma Jordan, who was the principal of the elementary school when Professor Jones was the principal of the high school. Mrs. Thelma Jordan was a very strong woman. She had the stature that I think was so awesome, but we knew as she walked up and down the hall and took care of what we were doing at the school, and this is back in the 50s, of course, late 40s and 50s, that she was so intent on making sure black children received the education they needed. So by the time, at that time, the elementary school was the lower floor of the two-story building on 10th Avenue. And once you reached the sixth grade, graduation allowed you to go upstairs to the high school. So she governed the lower floor, and Professor Jones obviously was the principal of the upstairs. But the city did recognize Mrs. T.B. McPherson, who was my coach, our school coach during the time I was in school. He had a roaring voice, and we held class in the auditorium because we didn't have enough classroom. And he would sit there and roar all over the auditorium, and everybody heard him. But when he got down on the football players, because they weren't doing what they did, we got just to laugh at them and all. But he was an outstanding man in that he led us all. He was somebody to look up to. He cared about every one of those children. He cared about all of us and gave his all. And I think that's why the city acknowledges him. But we don't talk about Mr. Neil Butler, who was a gentleman who belonged to my church. Mr. Neil Butler was the first African-American male to get a nursing degree, University of Florida. He got a master's. He also became the mayor of the city of Gainesville at one time. Tremendous contributions through his work. And of course, there were two ladies that lived in my area that were sisters. They provided the church music to all of the churches in the area. Marie Spivey, Carrie Allen. They were along with the Barbara Higgins that we just recognized the other day, they did at Spring Hill. So these people who contributed may never get their names in lights, but the legacy they left is worth knowing, because how do we move forward without knowing where we were? I am into helping, hopefully, everybody, because we don't teach black history just for black folk. We teach it for everybody because no one knows it. So it's not good if I'm teaching and all the faces look like me. They have got to be on the other side, and you know what? The faces that don't look like me have got to tell their story, because there are two stories here, and we're never going to get it done until you hear all of them. So I'm into doing that. I appreciate the opportunity that you give me to come and speak, and may you have a great meeting and enjoy all of the J2J festivities. Thank you.